a big welcome to Butch from the Imbeciles.
What's up?
Thank you for speaking with us.
Yeah, no worries.
For anybody that's not currently familiar with the band, who are the Imbeciles? Describe yourselves.
We're a sort of experimental punk band. As you can probably tell, I'm English, but I live in America most of the time now. But the other guys here are from Brooklyn and Texas, so we're sort of a little bit of everything.
There's a mishmash for you.
It does. It makes it quite difficult on the rehearsal front and even as well. But it does sort of force us when we get together to not argue and be quite productive. So yeah. We're mainly based out of America, but interestingly, the type of music which we play, I think the big market for it is in the UK. But the history of the band is longer than that. We've been around for about 6 years, and before we were the Imbeciles, we were a band called Wartoad, which was more of a sort of straight-ahead, conventional punk hard rock band. And then things just got weird on a tour we were doing out in the middle of nowhere in Texas, and also when we were in Southern California, but not the nice bits of Southern California, sort of the meth lab, Roadhouse,
right,
part of it. And I think it's just the music started to change, and then we got a bit more experimental, really. Yeah. So now it's more in a sort of Gang of Four type of space. Wire is a big influence. But then it started to shift again. So for the next album, you'd probably hear, some Interpol, always some Fall, some of the influences that you're going to hear in there. But then a little bit of, so The Damned as well is a band that is a big influence on us at the moment. I think there's something for everybody, honestly. The music does change every time we do a single or an album or whatever. And I mean, this is going to sound weird, but we are weird, so that's right. Our next single is actually a cover of a song by Leo Sayer, from the 1970s, Big Head and all that. Actually, he looks exactly the same. He wrote a song for Roger Daltrey called One Man Band. And underneath all of the clarinets and the skipping around dressed as a clown, there's this amazing song. So I was like, listen, we're going to do this song. And everybody's like, fuck off. And I was like, no, we're going to, and you listen to it now, obviously it's a rock song now, a punk rock song. And it's just, I think it's a blistering song. So, you take what you need where you find it. But I think the fact that we're doing a Leo Sayer song is, it's amusing to me, but it's also, there's a reason for it. It's just a really, really good song. We've actually been talking to Leo Sayer's management. And interestingly, they had exactly the same reaction as my own band, which was like, fuck off. No. But then we're going to do it anyway, so you don't know, do you?
Yeah. The darkly ironic timing of this interview is not lost on me at all. So the band and its music are kind of, you go down a very reflective state of where we are as a population, where we are as a species at the moment. And the state of the world in general. And obviously we've ended up talking to you guys in the middle of a global pandemic. So the timing of the album release, although not perfect because it's obviously had a major impact on the fact that you were meant to be on tour in the UK, the subject matter of the album and the subject matter of the band is very of now.
Well, I don't want to. Yeah, I've got to be careful with this one because I don't want to sound like I'm like we told you so. But that the mission of the album was to tell people that we think the world's basically, going to end at some point in the next 100 years. And then, we've had this philosophy of dystopian philosophy where we're like pointing out all the things that can go wrong, which are, everything to do with technology and pharmaceuticals and the environment and everything. But basically the point is that we're saying, things are not going well. They're probably not at some point going to end well. So you might as well be a bit nicer to each other before we all start, eating each other or going extinct. And that, funnily enough, I mean, not really funny, is it? Has actually come to pass a little bit. I was saying to somebody the other day, when we first started talking about what the album was about, and all of those themes, almost like a pre-apocalypse warning. There was a lot of people who'd be like, what a wanker. You'd hear them mutter that as you walked off. It's not so fucking funny now, is it?
There we go, yeah.
Yeah. Now you're wearing your little mask and you can't go to the pub anymore. It's like, well, it turns out those imbeciles might have known more than we gave them credit for.
If you had to describe the album in literally just 3 words to people, how would you describe it?
A bit bonkers, probably.
Right.
It doesn't conform to I mean, yeah, a lot of the songs are 2 minutes, but some of them are 15 seconds, and it doesn't conform to what most people would say is a conventional structure for a song. And I think the lyrics also go into some quite interesting places, like they're going. It's not like we're looking to make things scan and do rhyming couplets or anything. So there's a lot of emotion in there. I think it's quite raw. That's a lot more than 3 words, isn't it? But that's essentially where it's coming from. It's not black metal or sort of doom metal or anything like that. Some of the songs are quite a bit like the Smiths. Everybody used to say the Smiths was a really depressing band, but if you took their songs individually, they were quite, they're quite jolly. They're quite singable. And you could have a dance, stuff like that. So there's stuff like that on there as well, and there is some quite amusing moments. I mean, I think as a band we really enjoy the recording process. We enjoy each other's company. It's not like a band where we're not getting on with each other, and so the music's coming from sort of this place of anger. I mean, we're sort of quite united in what we're trying to do as a band, and I think that comes out of the music. We're actually in a really creative mode at the moment. Everybody's like writing. The problem is we're in 4 different
separate places. So it's 15 tracks. I think the longest comes in at 2 minutes 39. So it's sticking to the real punk sort of mantra of short, sharp, poignant, in your face.
Is there any reason to? I don't really. To me, it's like that's almost like not intentional. It's just I just don't really see the reason of doing it longer than that. And when we play. We had somebody the other day saying, "Oh, you're headlining in the UK." This was before it got cancelled, and they were like, "How long are you going to play? An hour, hour and a half?" And I was like laughing. I was like, "No, play 28 minutes. Like, why would I play for an hour and a half? Why would I even want to? And if I don't want to, why would anybody want to sit through that?" And like 300 songs if we were doing it. But no, in all seriousness, a song like 2 minutes 30 for me. It's getting a little bit draggy, and sometimes a song doesn't really have more than a minute in it. It depends on who you're playing for as well, because like if you're in a club and it's not going over that well, you need to be able to roll.
Hightail it out of that.
It's quite interesting because when we were touring some of the rougher bars in America, we played a few roadhouses and stuff, and it was sort of like Trump territory, and it was okay. And then we would play some like towns where it was more like arty, and that was okay. And then we got to this punk venue in Las Vegas, and we just ripped the fucking face off it. It was unbelievable. I mean, it was the most incredible show, and they just thought, we were the absolute nuts. I mean, it was just ridiculous. There was fighting. There was like they wanted more. It was like just best show we've ever played.
I say I've read before actually. You guys do prefer playing the more obscure, off the beaten track, spit and sawdust type venues. Is that just because of the atmosphere then? Yeah.
I think it gives us an opportunity as a band. When we're not together that much. When we were still developing the sound of it. It's quite helpful to play in a venue like that because you feel quite relaxed, and it sort of lends itself to being a bit more experimental, which is where the current sound came from. And the current sound, when we were in our previous incarnation of Wartoad, it was quite a conventional sound, to be honest with you. It was probably trying to sound very much like other things, and now it's gone into a much more weird place. And I don't think it, there are lots of references there and lots of things that we sound a bit like, but there isn't one thing that we're really biting off on, and so those venues are really helpful for that, particularly for a band that doesn't get together that often. But for this tour, it was devastating really, because we actually rehearsed and everything, so it was like it wasn't really we practiced and everything.
One thing I did want to definitely wanted to talk to you about was the videos. They've got to be mentioned. I think I've watched the Cider and d.i.e like over and over again. It's fair to say that you're a very cinematic cinematic band. Is there something in your backgrounds from a filmography or a cinematic point of view? Because they're outstanding.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I mean, it's just basically I'm a big movie fan. Essentially, I love cinema. I see everything. I see absolutely everything, and have done for as long as I can remember. And I think that's just part of who I am. So, and I also have a very anecdotal memory. So specific scenes just stick in my mind. So it was quite funny with the video for Decider, which is like an homage to some of my favourite films. It took me 30 seconds to come up with the storyline for that, because obviously it's John, who's our lead guy, lead singer and bassist. And he's like on a journey, and then after that it's just easy, isn't it? You've got to have Seventh Seal, you've got to have Planet of the Apes and all that.
Some of the scenes in there are just superb. I would say if people haven't seen them, go onto YouTube. It's the Imbeciles. Watch Decider and watch d.i.e, because they are just insanely good videos.
The video thing, I've been really pleasantly surprised that it's all right, because when you come up with the ideas, it's like anything, everybody's got an opinion, and people will be like, and I was like, well, we're going to do this, describe the d.i.e one, which is basically a voyage into space, and they're like, mate, it's going to be shit, and I was like, spacesuits, and they're like, yeah, it's getting even shitter by the minute, where's spacesuits? I was like, no, it's even better, we're going to have Japanese spooky, whatever they call it, makeup, and they're like, oh, mate, that's so sad. And then it comes out, it's like massive!
Proof's in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. I think we would be wrong not to finish and wrap up with 3 quick fires that are based around the end of the world. So I think it fits quite well. So, zombie apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice?
I mean, you want my serious answer, because I spent a lot of time thinking about this.
I've got a whole plan for this, so don't worry. We could probably do a whole nother interview just on this alone.
It'd be a 2.2 rifle with an extended magazine. Yeah, you can't go wrong. You don't need a high caliber. You do need to be able to carry a lot of ammunition. So 22's good enough for me.
Okie dokie. Nuclear apocalypse.
Yeah.
Missiles are dropping. It's coming to an end. You got minutes to live. What song do you put on?
Well, first of all, I've moved into where you're interviewing me now is a former firehouse, which is approved as a nuclear fallout shelter. So I've actually and I have a panic room in the basement with a year's food and masks and all that sort of stuff. So I'm quite well. That is you've really got me on that one. I'll probably play something by David Bowie, actually.
Okay.
5 years or something like that. Something a bit mournful, so I could feel a bit weepy and feel a bit sorry for myself. I probably wouldn't put on anything upbeat, actually. Something. You got to go back for Bowie, don't you? When you've got something, on your mind. He's always a legend, isn't he?
So you can see now it would work with the mushroom clouds kind of going up in the distance. You're gazing out of the window with a bit of Bowie in the background.
Yeah, mate, that's exactly, you've brought it to life for me there. I think I'm now going to add a mushroom cloud to the next video. And I'm going to give you a shout out.
I want credit on that.
Like a mushroom cloud idea concept by AD. Yeah.
And last one is of now, Pandemic. What song do you wash your hands to for 20 seconds?
I'm gonna go with One Man Band because it's so catchy. I'm a one man band. Our version doesn't have any clarinet in it though. It's very heavy. It starts off with a wall of feedback. Yeah, I'm gonna go for some Leo Sayer. Leo Sayer gets you up in there. Either that or Dark Entries by Bauhaus, probably. That's a good one for washing your hands, isn't it?
Well, listen, Butch, it's been an absolute pleasure. I cannot wait the days are going to be slow because I want you in this country and I want you doing your thing over here because the Bristol show will be absolutely epic. And
I think it's going to be grand, so count on it for November and keep an eye out for the video because I'm adding a mushroom cloud to it and I'm putting your name.
Awesome. Thank you for your time, sir. Stay safe, stay well, and love to the rest of the band as well. And we'll see you hopefully before the end of the year.
Cheers, mate.